Hello everyone, welcome to a new section. In this section, we will be working with index and match functions. Now, index and match functions are usually used as a pair, which means that you use them together, even though there are a lot of cases where they can be used independently as well. Now, index and match work in a very different manner compared to vlookup. So the first thing I would like to do in the first and the second lecture is to make you comfortable using index and match separately. And once we have done that, we can combine it and try to see how we can replace vlookup with a combination of index and match. So here is the data set that we have. We have a list of 10 customer IDs, the corresponding names, and the sale amount. Now imagine you wanted to find out who are the customers whose position is 1, 3, 4, and 8. To do this, we will write equal to index. Now the arguments are very different. It doesn't say lookup value, table array, so on and so forth. It says array number, or rather the array, the row number, and the column number. Now my array simply is C3 to C13. The row number that we want is F4. And because we have only chosen one column right now, we can either leave it blank, or if we want to, we can also write number 1 here. Now you notice that the result is not really coming correctly. The reason is because we have started our selection at C3. Now there are two ways of fixing this. Either we start at C4 and we get Darren Powers, or if you want to start at C3, then you can simply say a +1 so that the number is always offset by 1. Let me just do that here. So we say not number 1, we will say F4 +1. So if you notice, 1 is Darren Powers, 3 is Mick Brown, the 4th customer is Anthony Jacobs, and the 8th is Michael Moore. Now imagine you wanted to find the sales amount. So what we can do here is we could have, rather than selecting only one column as the array, I'm choosing both the columns as the array. My row number, remember I told this earlier, it will be F4 +1 because we want it to be offset by 1. We don't want customer name, the heading as a result. We want Darren Powers as the result. And the column number is our choice. So let me just break this into 3 lines. And we can say that if the user has chosen customer name, then the result would be 1. Otherwise, the column number would be 2. And as you can see, let me put the dollar signs in the right places as well. So G3 will have a dollar on it. So we can see that the number 1, 3, 4, and 8 customers are Darren, Mick, Anthony, and Michael. But if we change it to sales, it tells us what is the sales for these 4 position numbers. Now, where does index come handy? Index becomes very important when you don't want results as per a lookup value, but you want results as per a position. For example, when you're doing a random number generator, you might want to look at maybe every 5th record, or perhaps you want to look at the 5th and the 15th and the 25th record. Now that would not be possible using a vlookup, because remember, a vlookup is only going to do an exact match on the value. So I'm not really searching for a customer name here. I'm searching simply for the position number. So I hope the example is clear. Just a quick recap. There are only 3 arguments. The first one is the array, which is C3 to D13. The row number is offset by 1 because we don't want to include the heading. And then finally, we have kept an if statement for the column number so that the user can switch between column number 1 and 2. Now I'll show you something very interesting here. Imagine we had selected B3 to D13, right? Now this time you notice, let me remove this. Let's just keep the number 1 as the column, right? So again, you notice when I say 1, we are getting column number 1. When we say 2, we are getting the name. And when we say 3, we are getting the sale amount. Now, if you're able to wrap your head around it, think about it. This, in a way, means that we will be able to look on the left side as well. Because remember, even if you're searching for the customer name, in a VLOOKUP, we would not have been able to find out the ID because that's towards the left. We would only have been able to find out the sale amount. But using an index, we can control the column numbers in a manner that we can go to the left and to the right. I will explain this in more detail when we come to that lecture. So let me go back to what we had done here, which is this one. So index allows you to define the position number and get the result depending on the intersection of that row and column.